Hey guys, welcome to my channel. If this is your first time watching me, my name is Jenny. So in today's video, I'm going to be testing out for the first time the new Jeffree Star Cosmetics concealers and also the setting powder. So if you want to see how these products work out, then let's get right into the video. So before we get into the video, I apologize if I sound a little bit congested. I am getting sick and I still wanted to film this video for you guys. I am lucky to have a Morphe store not too far from my house, so I ran and went to get the Magic Stars concealers and also the setting powder. So each of this retail for $22. So the concealer is $22 and also is the setting powder. And I ended up getting two different shades of the concealer. So I got C15 and C18, and let me tell you, for somebody who plays with makeup almost on a daily basis, it was a little bit challenging at first to find the right shade. So I ended up going with C15 because this one is for tan skin with golden olive undertones, and C18 is for tan skin with neutral undertones. And just for foundation shade reference, I normally do go for a olive or golden undertones foundation, so I'm hoping that one of these two shades will work for me. I did test them on the store on my skin, but it's not the same thing when you're actually doing a full face of makeup. So I hope that one of those two will work for me. And when it comes to the setting powder, I ended up picking up the shade Beige. For some reason, I was between this one and the translucent one, but the translucent one was a little bit too white for my taste. And I'm not gonna lie, I have a lot of translucent setting powder, so I just wanted to try the beige one and see how I liked it. So at this point, I've only applied primer, then foundation and brow. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start applying the concealer. And I know that by now, pretty much everyone has seen this packaging. I mean, it's so unique. I personally really wanted to get it just for the packaging alone because look at the top. It has that little star and the Jeffree Star logo on it, and it's just so cute. I really love all of the details that went into this packaging. I'm gonna start by just swatching the two shades that I got on the back of my hand. So the darker one, the one on the top, is actually C15, which is the golden olive undertones, and the one on the bottom is actually C18, which is the neutral undertone one. And this is why I tell you that the shades are a little bit confusing because, like I said, the darker one is C15 and the lighter one is C18. So the shades don't necessarily go from light to darker, which is what we're normally used to for other makeup brands. They basically group them by skin type and undertone. So I think I'm gonna use C18 under my eyes and then I'll test C15 for spot concealing. And I want to show you the applicator because it's very unique in my opinion. It's very pointy and it's a little bit slanted, so it should help you to get into the area underneath your eye really easily. But not only that, it's very pointy and it has this little hole in the center that helps to hold more of the product. Alright, so let's just go in. So I'm applying it as I always do, and I think that's a pretty good shade for highlighting in my skin tone. I'm happy I see that. Oops, I don't have my wet beauty sponge, so let me go ahead and grab one. Okay, so I just wet my small beauty sponge and I'm using the one by Jeffree, the one that he came out with Morphe recently. And not because I'm doing this review, but because I really love this beauty sponge. I'm sure you have seen me use it before. It's just very convenient in size for this area. Okay. So far, I do like the coverage. Do you see how much it covered? I think I'm so happy that I got this shade because I almost feel like it's the perfect concealer color for highlighting under the eye. The only thing that I noticed is that, so I have this little mark right here from a pimple that I had recently and I can still see it. So I don't want to say it's completely full coverage, but either way, I think it covers up a lot. And there you can see the difference with just one simple layer. I'm gonna go ahead and go in with a second layer, but just very lightly, because I don't personally like when your concealer gets too heavy under the eye. But just for testing purposes, I want to be able to see how well this product builds up. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other eye. Okay guys, so I went ahead and did concealer on the other side, and I like what I see. I really like what I see because it was super easy to blend. I like the coverage. I think the color was perfect for my skin tone, especially under the eye. It gave me a little bit of brightening effect and it covered up my dark circles. I still think that it's not 100% full coverage. Okay, now I do want to try the C15 still because I want to see how this shade will work for spot concealer. So let's just try it out. I know that this is definitely darker, but it's more of my skin color. So let's just see. I'm gonna use the other end of the beauty sponge. Okay, that color is pretty close to my foundation, which I like. I'm gonna add a little bit on this little blemish that just didn't want to go away, and I started touching it and it just got bad. So I'm gonna add a little bit of concealer right there. Okay, that's pretty good. It concealed it really nicely and I like that. Okay, now I'm just gonna go back to the C18, the lighter shade, just to highlight the rest of the face. So I'm gonna put it on the nose, forehead, and chin. I feel like I have to continue to say that, but it blends out so nicely. Okay, so I'm finally gonna get into the setting powder, and once again, this is in the color Beige. Okay, let's open it together. So it comes with this little thing that you turn right or left to open and close. So let's see. Okay, so you move it to the right, all the way to the right, and then it comes with the little protecting sealer, which I appreciate that it has the little thing to be able to pull out for those girls who have long nails. Not in my case right now, but it is those little details that make life a little bit easier, so you can easily just pull it out. Okay, so I'm just gonna put some on the lid. Okay, I appreciate that not a lot of the powder comes out, just so that you don't waste too much product, so I like that. Let me just apply the powder. Okay, I like the color because it's not completely translucent, but it does have some color to it, and I think it's fine for me. You know that cotton candy scent that Jeffree talked about? You definitely smell it. It's not really strong though, but if you get really close to smelling the powder, you will definitely notice it. So if you don't like that scent, just know that it definitely smells like cotton candy. Pretty good. It definitely mattified this area under the eye. You see this side, it hasn't been set, and you definitely see all of that shine coming through, which is not really bad. But if you like a matte under eye, once you apply this powder, it definitely will do that for you. So I'm also gonna apply a little bit of the setting powder on my forehead, nose, and chin, and also a little bit right here on the side because I am gonna go in with bronzer and blush. I really like it. Definitely the powder mattifies your skin a little bit, which I think it's fine. And I also think that it helps to blur the area under the eye. I don't know if you notice, but I do notice a little bit of a blurring effect. Okay, so I'm done applying the concealers and also the setting powder. So let me go ahead and finish the rest of my face, and I will be right back. So I'm back. I finished the rest of my face makeup, but there is one step that I wanted to do here in camera with you, and that is baking. And I am not gonna bake under my eye area just because I normally don't do that. I have really dry under eye and I just don't normally do it unless I'm doing heavy eye makeup and then I already have my face done. So that's the only reason when I will put setting powder under the eye. But most of the time I don't. What I always like to do is baking underneath my contour. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So I'm just grabbing a little bit of the powder on this Morphe sponge that I have, that it's also from Jeffree, and I'm just gonna carve out this area right here. So I always do that just because I feel like it cleans up my contour and it just makes my makeup look a lot sharper. So I'm gonna leave that there just for a minute or so. Alright, so now I'm just wiping that powder off. So as you can see, it definitely helped to clean up under my contour. So for my baking needs, I think this powder definitely works. Okay, now for my final thoughts on these two products. So I personally love this formula of the concealer. I think it amazed me. It's such a nice formula. It blended out super easily. It felt very thin. It did not dry it out super fast at all. It actually takes a lot of time to dry it out. I still have the swatches that I did on my hand originally. They actually still feel like they haven't dried down completely. So I think it's great because if you have dry skin, you are gonna appreciate that formula. I think the color that I selected matched my skin tone really nice for highlighting purposes, and so did the darker one. I don't know where I left it, but either way, I love the fact that he came out with so many different shades. I love the formula. I love the packaging. One thing that I think it's only fair to mention is that even though it retails for $22, you only get 0.115 fluid ounces. And I know that at first it sounds like it's a lot cheaper than other concealers for a higher end makeup brand, but when you actually compare, I'm just gonna use the Tarte Shape Tape for comparison. This one has 0.338 fluid ounces and I believe it retails close to $30. I don't know, like $27, $28. So you are getting less product on the Magic Star concealer, but you also are paying a little bit less than if you were to buy the Tarte Shape Tape. So I just wanted to mention that. Obviously they are charging for the formula and not necessarily quantity for quantity, you know what I mean? Because I know that he works so hard on this formula, like he said it so many times, and you can see the quality on the product. So I personally don't mind. And the same goes for the setting powder. So you get 0.353 on the Magic Star setting powder, and I'm just gonna use the Laura Mercier setting powder for comparisons because I think these are products that everyone pretty much has tried. So this one you do get a full 1 ounce of product, but at the same time it costs about $40, so it is double the price. But again, you can see the difference in quantity right away. So I think when it comes to the powder, it's a little bit more fair in pricing. But now in regards to the actual quality of the setting powder, I think it's a really great setting powder. It worked out really nicely and I actually really enjoy the beige shade that I got. I think it worked out really nice for my skin tone. So that is really nice that he came out with a lot of different shades. The only thing is that I personally don't really enjoy the cotton candy scent to it. It might be because I don't necessarily like sweet scents. It did go away a little bit after I applied the setting powder. I personally think I would have been better without the scent. So that's one thing, and maybe because of that I would still prefer my Hourglass Veil setting powder. But once again, this one is a lot more expensive than this one, so it's just preference. I think it works really nice though, but just the scent was not my favorite. But that is everything. I hope that my video was helpful in case you were trying to buy this concealer or the setting powder. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't done that already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.